Stelios78910.
2D platformers, as a genre, don't tend to make a whole lot of sense. You're already getting into some surrealist territory, given it's hard to imagine how anything functions in 2 dimensions. But when you consider some of the source material in them, it's an insane mixture of amazingness.
For their brilliant absurdity and incredibly fun, tight and satisfying gameplay, these games can be something pretty special. From their mascot beginnings to the new indie platforming revolution, they've proved that 2 dimensions are certainly better than 1. Or 3 occasionally.
I'm Mr. 12603.
And I'm Stelios78910.
And these are the top 20 2D platformers. To kick off this list, we have Giana Sisters? What? Like the Mario knockoff on Commodore 64?
No, Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, the German Kickstarter title aiming to remove the negative stigma towards the name of the sisters from many moons ago.
And they did, with the theming of goblin-like fairy tale visuals mixed with edgy punk rock, which does look truly magical with the power of the HD consoles.
Its identity is exemplified by compliments of the game's puzzle platforming good/evil dimension switching mechanic.
But hey, at least you can glide fabulous.
Total differentiation of its new identity may fall a bit flat with a lack of dialogue and a true plot with a simple motif.
But it is nice to see that stories these days employ the refreshing sister device. It's like Frozen, except edgier.
And whilst this game may lack any major personalities, it has, oh my god, that thing! And it's balls in terms of its Heart of Jewels difficulty. But to advance you need to strive for perfection and get all the gems in the level.
Which is kind of a bummer for scrubs like Stella. Giana Sisters' Twisted Dreams premise and hardcore twirling puzzle platforming gameplay seals it as one of the better crowdfunding successes.
The sisters are back, and a great game to kickstart us off.
Zelda, like many similar franchises at the time, was one where the first game set up the standard formula for the series, and for the sequel they completely disregarded it all. What is this, frickin' Zelda 2? Make it a platformer now. I am error, what? Who gives a shit? Let's take lunch.
While many could look past this, the blackest of cookies in the franchise, Zelda 2 is still a solid platformer and a great game worth seeking out for Zelda and NES fans alike. Embrace the weirdness, and if all else fails, use fire. Yes, sir.
Through the battle arena style non-so-random encounters and huge and very challenging labyrinthy dungeons, the game spans a vast dollop of adventure across a pretty massive world.
The 2D segments are all given scope by the overworld, which is its key to being an adventure game, without losing the sweet packages of great combat and platforming.
Not to mention, the combat system in this game is tight, allowing attacks to be thrown out and defended from any angle, and with the up thrusts and down thrusts available from pretty early on, it allows you to take advantage of all space available in 2 planes.
Then of course we have the challenge factor. It's as hard as rock, bro.
It's never unfair or overwhelming, but fuck man, those dark nuts are just the bane. Back to the palace again, oh god damn it!
Zelda 2 isn't the best Zelda game.
It's obviously linked to crossbow training.
But for what it did bring to the Zelda franchise and for being an incredibly fun and rewardingly challenging game, we can take the rough with the smooth and put it here early on in the list. Earthworm Jim.
Oh god, no.
Come on, Will, you can't worm your way out of this one.
Not the puns. Oh my, you've just opened a whole new can of worms.
Earthworm Jim is by far the strangest game on this list. Its quirky brand of goofy 90s cartoon humour will leave you in confused chortles whilst worming your way through the game's several off-the-wall levels.
But he's no bookworm, more of a fan of the shoot first, questions later approach, and gameplay is your standard run and gun platformer with some more wormy powers and a unique 2.5D visual style complementing the intense strangeness.
Each level is full of odd set pieces, enemies and attempts at humour, from new junk city to down to tubes to... okay, that one's just called Buttville.
Aside from all the oddities the game contains, it's just a solid, if incredibly surreal 2D platformer. Combat and platforming are pretty refined as you traverse the various intricate level layouts.
And if all this weirdness doesn't cut it for you, let's quickly recap the story. Jim is a stranded earthworm who finds a spacesuit from the sky and uses it to rescue Princess What's-Her-Name. Yes, that's her actual name. But when you do, she gets crushed by the cow you launched into the air on the first level.
That's it, I can't keep up with this shit.
Looks like someone's gonna need a trip to the Earthworm Gym.
One might say it's a risky move putting this game on here, since the sequel is just about to be released here in Europe as we are scripting this.
But we'll rob the lamp and tell you the tale of Shantae Risky Revenge.
Within the first 30 minutes, you're presented with a plot of homages to the first game, eggs, bowel movements, and the evil pirate Risky Boots snapping of a lamp, and all respect is lost for Shantae throughout Sculpted Sound. It's certainly going for the quick gags.
DuckTales Remastered devs Way Forward are no stranger to platformers and great sprite art, so diversifying Shantae as a character to others took priority. She can whip her hair back and forth and turn into gameplay-changing animals through the power of dance.
In the original Shantae, she was a more reserved, naive, confidence-lacking teen, but she is her own woman in Risky Revenge. And the game isn't bare expensive or dated looking.
And come on, how can we not have a character on this list with purple hair?
Things are about to get meaty. Platforming has never been so tender and juicy, with purposely slippery physics complemented by tight controls and cringe-inducing ways to die of being shredded in hell.
But this game isn't hell. Death respawns are beef quick, and the levels elapsing mere seconds create a hard but fair difficulty curve.
There's no multiplayer, but you'll want to pass around the controller for all the help you'll need, with 6 worlds, each with their own smoky negative, and it's the only game on the list to have the internet itself as a level you're gonna want to keep playing.
It could be higher, but it's not got the most memorable soundtrack on the list, and some of the boss battles are just a little too bullshitty.
But Will, there's some unlockable characters from other indie games that we may not be seeing later.
The cutscenes are funny and pay homage to Meat Boy's Newgrounds roots. Super Meat Boy proves that even slabs of meat can have feelings to demonstrate the rarest power of love against the diabolical Dr. Fetus.
And Meat Boy himself is a formidable, succulent alternative platforming mascot that's design is even simpler than Kirby, but it's certainly not for kids.
Super Meat Boy is an old school beast of a game, but it's definitely worth checking out for old school veterans and fans of the genre. Many might argue that Little Big Planet 2 is the ultimate platformer, with an endless amount of amazing to bare-bones levels that anyone in the Little Big world can make.
But to new players, this game is almost too intimidating. Especially now with a complete community. Where do you start? And the magic of watching the now fading community grow is kind of an experience that's too hard to replicate.
Unless you get the sequel, which neither of us have played yet. So watch out for that one, maybe.
And we don't want to be too biased here, but this game is wonderfully British. Whether it be the imaginative charm emanated from British devs Media Molecule, or the fine narration of bass Stephen Fry.
The original score complements the promotion of imagination the game presents, and when not, the music meets with the wackier side of the game.
But this game can be as wacky as you want it to be, with power-ups like no other platformer, and the most graceful respawn in all of gaming.
One of the few games on the list to have 4-player co-op, and an online mode that even Mr. Nintendo Reggie My Body Is So Ready Philza May has spoken his godly approval of. The welcoming and expansive worlds allow you to appreciate the eons of effort put into this game to seal it at the number 15 slot.
Although the PS3 controller matched with the game's physics isn't perfect for platforming, you've gotta love the endless amounts of Sackboy skins from Shrek to Shadow to Elsa from Frozen.
Let the fanfics begin.
Stelly no! Stelly no! Metroid Zero Mission is a real unsung hero of the Metroid franchise. While Super, Fusion and the Prime games might get something close to the immense praise they deserve, more credit really needs to be given to the smoothest and all-round most fun entry in the 2D lineup.
Zero Mission recounts and remakes the story told in the original game, Metroid, but adds so much fresh new content and builds upon the original to such an extent it's hard to even classify it as a remake. The graphics, music, control and gameplay have been taken to a new level, with elements from Super Metroid, like the Seabees overworld and the directional level design, and Metroid Fusion, like climbing abilities and better cutscenes, are applied to truly refine the experience.
And there was a staggeringly great amount of new content added. Completely new mini-bosses were thrown in, each environment was given its own presentation style with new platforming gimmicks, and for the bosses, they went from this to this. I mean, that's like not even, what the fuck is this shit?
Various shortcuts throughout the game were added and power-ups like the Spine Spark makes this truly a speedrunner's dream.
But what really puts Zero Mission on here is how smooth the game plays, which makes it much more fun than Super and Fusion. Everything feels right and you're given so much non-intrusive freedom to play the game however you want. Also, the new post-game stealth segment is really fun. Dat fan service dough.
Winning the awards for the most superb title and gameplay like no other, BitTrip presents Runner 2, Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
Runner 2 takes the rough and ready retro themes of Commander Video's first sprint and expands it to a fully fledged marathon.
I just felt like running.
2 out of 10, where's Bubba Gump?
And we say he, but there's a rainbow of playable characters and costumes to get for dedicated players. From Little Mac to turkey suits or just playing as a bloody gherkin, never has one looked so stylish while playing a platformer.
We've got these questionable objects in the sky level, trees that chomp on axes, and the passionate narration from none other than the based original Mr. Video himself, Charles Martinet.
Oh yes, sound, the focal point of the game. Take away the music and you've got your basic platformer, but the joy and euphoria of perfectly timing that jump, kick and slide to the beat of the engrossing music truly is the game's main draw.
There's the polite adjustable difficulty level throughout the whole game of quite easy, just right and rather hard.
But really, go rather hard or go home, scrubs.
Playing such a happy, humorous game has a euphoria when playing to make you feel instinctual and integral to the music, and no other platformer can offer that.
The worlds are wonderfully cliche, but right down to the level names, they have just as much thought as the meticulous design of the levels themselves. We've got tripping on herbs, morning wood, the moist flow tubes. What even writes this stuff?
A handful of Californian blokes and a whole lot of beer, apparently. I'd drink to that.
And if all this diversification wasn't enough to warrant an unlucky for some 13th placement, the game even has fake adverts. Mario games are all fun and stuff, but wouldn't it be fun for a change of pace and to play as a villain for once? Bam! Wario Land. Wouldn't it then be nice to have a great Wario Land game? Bam! The Shake Dimension.
You want hand-drawn butts? Wario Land's got hand-drawn butts. You want to comically squeeze through pipes? Wario Land's got pipes. And thanks to the amazing artists at Goodfeel, rest assured, it'll be absolutely goddamn beautiful.
Shaking the Wii Remote always feels a bit silly, but it really goes well with Wario's obtuse control style. He's always been more about brute force over agility, so it feels good to use motion controls to shake shit, or pound shit, or throw shit.
Continent traversing, Captain Syrup romancing, and Shake King prancing aside, Wario's raw power compensates for his speed, and the mellow-paced tunes makes the slow platforming more bearable.
The level design is also something that should be praised from the train levels. Collectibles are hidden and each stage has various missions to complete. They're also unique in that not only do their themes, gimmicks and presentation styles change, but so too do their entire structures. Mountain levels vast and spaced out, train levels thin and lengthy, every stage is full of personality and charm.
Wario Land the Shake Dimension shows that sometimes it's good to be bad, and while Wario may be a bit of an ass, he can show us all how great it feels to throw small red people into walls. And come on, what other platformer can you do shit with garlic? Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. Try saying that 10 times fast.
Drinkbox Studios presents some of the most unique theming on the list, as the unification of non-linear platforming and beat-em-up gameplay is truly something to cherish in Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
The Metroidvania life doesn't get too distracted with exploration and promotes testing your platforming skills and making long jumps and falls, with the use of these also combat handy wrestling moves.
But Wikipedia says it's a platformer, and Wikipedia is the fucking bomb!
The story visits the aforementioned unique theming of a sleepy Mexican county, with luchador lore plastered around every door, with pop culture references afar.
The OMG spoiler alert plot twist of our protagonist Juan actually dying in the first 15 minutes of the game allows the game's clever dimension switching mechanic that is more fluid and fine-tuned than Jana Sisters.
This is about as exciting as the Save the Damsel in Distress story gets.
But it's the characters along the way that exemplify the theme and compensate for the silent protagonist.
Such as learning fighting wombo combo moves from a giant talking Christian chicken Blaze can eat your Kentucky Fried Heart out, or form changing thanks to your mum joke cracking goat man.
Oh, and the villain is a guitar-playing Lord of the Dead skeleton. That's kind of amazing.
To conclude, the variety of type platforming moves, cray characters, and the life of a luchador seals Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition the number 11 spot on the list.
Now please, join us in part 2 on That Guy's channel,
where things are about to get more grande.